So with the Assassin's Creed series now on a significant anniversary, we did the other day, well, more so like the other week, we did get a brand new live stream from Ubisoft themselves, which then was showcasing us the future of the Assassin's Creed series. And as a long-time fan of the series, this stream was interesting from Ubisoft because they were talking about a bunch of different projects that are all coming out in the future, and they were varying in different timescales and regards to the distance of time in which they're releasing. And it was just an interesting time to kind of look ahead at the series and see what's to come. And what I want to do in today's video is discuss a few of those projects, the ones that stood out to me the most, and talk about how I feel about them and how I feel like this is going to propel the series going forward. So the first one that really got a spotlight was Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, this was leaked about a week or two before the showcase actually took place, and Assassin's Creed Mirage is essentially being pitched by Ubisoft themselves as a return to roots for the Assassin's Creed series, really going back to and harkening back to the core themes and core pillars that really established the Assassin's Creed series as the global phenomenon that it is known as today. And this is kind of being spoken as being a spiritual successor to the original Assassin's Creed game, which is quite a big thing. And I think for a lot of fans, particularly like myself and also a lot of fans of Assassin's Creed, this is a big, big moment because it's kind of like a kind of renaissance for the series, you know, to kind of give it a term that fits Assassin's Creed. A lot of fans have been waiting for a type of game like this where it really does go back to what Assassin's Creed is all about. These kind of open world environments where you're all about blending in, social stealth. It's actually about the assassins, which is something that has really been lost in the last few games in the series. You know, whether you like those games or not, I think you can't deny the fact that the actual focus on the assassins themselves just hasn't been there. So this game seems to be actually truly focusing on that. We did get a in-engine gameplay, an in-engine sort of cutscene, cinematic trailer, if you will, for Mirage, and it gave us a good look at regards to the setting of the game, the character of the game, and does kind of give vibes of Assassin's Creed 1, I won't lie, it does give me those sorts of feelings. It also, the cinematic trailer itself was very reflective of the cinematic trailer from Assassin's Creed 2, so it definitely is trying to evoke those emotions from fans. You know, it wants fans to really feel like this is a classic Assassin's Creed title. And I'm totally down for that. Like, I'm really happy about this. The main character of this game is going to be Basim, who was a big player character, a big player within Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was, of course, the most recent entry into the series. This game is a prequel to Valhalla. It's going to take place about 20 or so years before Valhalla, and we're going to see how Basim kind of became the assassin that we know him to be in Valhalla. He did have some interesting story developments inside of Valhalla, particularly to do with kind of his inner consciousness and also the whole Loki thing. So it'll be interesting to see if they explore any of that in this game. It does seem like, based on that cinematic trailer, there are going to be hints towards it throughout this game. But I feel like it probably won't be fully explored in this. I feel like that might kind of get wrapped up in the final expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which they did talk about also. But Basim, you know, cool character. And also, I really like the actor who they've actually got to portray him. It's the guy who plays Agent Stone in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, who is really, really good, by the way. Great films as well. And he is actually going to be voicing Basim. He didn't voice him in Valhalla, but he is going to be voicing him in Mirage. The game is also going to be taking place in Baghdad, so again, it is kind of going back to that sort of setting that was really established in Assassin's Creed 1, which is really great, and based on what we've seen from the cinematic trailer and the screenshots, this looks like a very lively, very dense, and very popular environment, which is really going to re-emphasize the kind of social stealth side of the series, which I think does need to make a reappearance. And, you know, I have heard that this game is kind of being likened gameplay-wise to Unity. I'm not sure how true that's actually going to be. I mean, Unity was good, despite the fact it did have all the bugs, etc., etc. Unity was a flawed game, but at its core was actually a pretty solid Assassin's Creed. But this game is still going to be running off of the more recent Assassin's Creed engine that they used in Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla, so I don't know exactly how it's going to really feel like Unity, but I'll give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt at this point. We'll see what it actually looks like. We still haven't seen gameplay yet, which is a bit worrying. I would have thought that in this showcase we would have got gameplay, but we didn't. But all that being said, you know, I think that this is very, very exciting for Assassin's Creed fans, particularly people like me who, as much as I've enjoyed some elements of the newer games, for me, they've never reached the same heights as the non-big RPG-based games of the series. I just really enjoy those games a lot more. So this kind of going back to the roots, I'm all for it. But speaking of those big RPG titles, there were actually a couple of other games that Ubisoft did speak about within this live stream that also kind of showcased the future of the series and what they're working on going forward. So even though Mirage is going to be the next game in the series coming out in 2023, that is seemingly a one-off. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what they did with Assassin's Creed Rogue at the beginning of the 8th generation. It's going to be something similar to that, it looks like, where it's kind of this one-off title that they're not going to return to. It's just kind of, I guess, appeasing the fans to kind of give them that sort of game. And then going forward from there, they're going to be returning to the big open-world RPG titles that they've been making more recently. The first one which they announced, which got a lot of fans, including myself, I can't lie, very, very excited, and that is Assassin's Creed Codename Red. Now, Codename Red is going to be taking place in feudal Japan. Now, that's very exciting because feudal Japan has been a setting that fans have been clamoring for years. I remember it being teased inside of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. A lot of people thought it was going to be the next game, and then the next game, and the next game. It just kept going and going and going. We've never had it. Now we're finally getting it. It makes sense why Ubisoft are doing this now. Like, I feel like, you know, the open world RPG stuff, the combat style that we have inside of the more modern Assassin's Creed games, I think does fit the gameplay style of this kind of samurai game that they're going to be doing. And also following the success of Ghost of Tsushima, it makes a lot of sense that Ubisoft have gone, right, clearly there's an appetite for this in the gaming world. People want to be a samurai. Let's go ahead and make the samurai Assassin's Creed game. Now, I think this game is going to run into similar problems that fans have had with games like Odyssey and Valhalla, where it's not going to be about the assassins. It's not going to be, you know, truly like a real Assassin's Creed game. But it is also going to be a beautiful open world. It's going to be an incredible world, and just really living in that fantasy of being a samurai, which people, you know, particularly fans of the series, have wanted to see for such a long time. I think it's just going to play quite well. And even though we got a tiny look at it, we didn't really get much at all. We got a tiny, tiny little snippet. It was basically just an animation they made, really. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful looking game. And whether it comes out on this generation or next generation, we don't quite know yet. Obviously, it's hard to tell at this point in the generation how long it's going to last. I'm pretty sure it'll come out on this generation, though. Pretty certain of that. I'm sure it's going to be a gorgeous looking game regardless. So even though we are going back to the roots of Mirage, and I'm happy about that, I am quite excited to see this kind of more RPG-centric, Japan-focused game, just because it's something we've wanted to see for such a long time. And they also announced one more game, which we got, again, a tiny, tiny look at, which was called Assassin's Creed Codename Hex, or Hexy. Very little is known about this project right now. All we know about it is that it's going to be a fresh take for the series, something very different, apparently, and it's going to be going down a lot more of a horror route. Now, that and that alone is exciting just because it sounds very different. It sounds very fresh. And also the setting is ever so slightly hinted towards. We haven't actually had it confirmed by Ubisoft what the setting for this game is. However, fans online have kind of speculated and sort of broken down the trailer that we got and have sort of realised that it's going to be taking place in medieval Germany, like Middle Ages Germany, during the Salem witch trials. So not the Salem witch trials, but the witch trials that took place during that time period. And that is just very awesome. Like, that's an awesome setting. So cool. Very unique, and something I don't think anyone, like any fans of the series, have actually thought of. And I think the main reason why this has become a talking point, and I totally agree with this, is that this is the time Ubisoft has to do a female protagonist in Assassin's Creed. Obviously, we've had female protagonists before. In Odyssey, we had Cassandra. In Valhalla, we had the female version of Eivor. But Ubisoft have yet to commit to a fully female protagonist for an Assassin's Creed series, or for the Assassin's Creed game. And if they're ever going to do it, this is the time to do it. Like, if this game is about witch trials, you have to play as a female character. Surely, because the whole point of the witch trials was, like, exposing women for being talented and just claiming they were witches because they were good at stuff. And, you know, playing as a male protagonist, surely that character is not going to relate to that situation in the same way that a female protagonist would. And I'm really hoping Ubisoft actually do it, because I can totally see all the controversy happening right now. Ubisoft being their typical selves, probably doing what they've done with Odyssey and Valhalla, giving you, and also like in Far Cry 6 as well, giving you a male character and a female character, and you get to choose which one. And, you know, in all the marketing and all the posters and everything, they'll stick the female character on there, but when it actually comes to the game releasing, they'll be like, oh, well, you can play as a male character as well. And people are just going to be like, what are you doing, man? Like, you actually have the option to make a fully female protagonist here, and you're not doing it. And again, this is the most perfect opportunity. The fact they haven't done it already is a little bit bizarre, but just in terms of the story and the concept of the game, surely you need a female protagonist here. Like, it makes too much sense. It reminds me very much so of Doctor Who Series 11, Jodie Whittaker's first series, where there was an episode in Series 11 about the witch trials, and that episode really did well with the fact that they now had a female doctor, because it just meant that character, the doctor, could really kind of relate to the situation that she was now in. And I feel like the same would have to be done here. You could have a female assassin who obviously might be very talented, obviously knows people within this world who are very talented, who are then getting murdered for that. And that could be a very interesting story. And I feel like if you just put in a male character, it's not going to work in the same way. So either way, I'm really interested to see what they do with this. You know, the horror route could be very interesting. The setting itself is very, very intriguing. I just really hope Ubisoft don't drop the ball and actually commit to it, because it could be actually a really big step for the series if they do. And the last thing I want to quickly touch on is Assassin's Creed Infinity. Now, this is something that has been rumoured for a couple of years now, and it's never really been made entirely clear what it is. And I still don't think Ubisoft have truly said what it is. I don't think they themselves have actually come out and said what this actually is. To my understanding, and from my interpretation of what they've said so far, Infinity seems to be a sort of platform for all Assassin's Creed games, probably from the past and going forward, to live on. So while I think a lot of people were maybe thinking it was going to be this big online experience, perhaps this online game per se, with loads of different locations all folded into one, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a game. I think it's very much more a platform, almost like a streaming service, if you will, for Assassin's Creed, where you kind of enter the service, enter the platform, and you can choose which game you want to play. Maybe they do like a monthly subscription. I'm not sure how exactly they go about it. Again, there's very little information actually officially from Ubisoft in regards to what Infinity is. But like I say, based on my interpretation, I think it's something you would jump into, be able to choose which Assassin's Creed game or Assassin's Creed experience you actually want to go into, and then launch into it. You can then launch back out of it, choose another game, etc., etc. Like I said, I think it's like a streaming service, or maybe like a Game Pass for Assassin's Creed. That's what I'm sort of picturing. I could be completely wrong. Again, that's completely my interpretation, my speculation, but that's sort of how it feels to me. If you have your own opinions on it, let me know down below what you're sort of thinking it's going to be. But for me personally, that's how I'm sort of interpreting it, which is fine. I don't really see a point in it, to be honest, if that's what it is. It seems a bit pointless. I mean, I guess digital games and stuff like Game Pass are becoming more and more popular, you know, by the day. As someone who's a bit more traditional and someone who is a lot more of a physical collector, I don't really see a point in it. Like, I will probably still pick up the games. Like, they've spoken about the fact that Mirage and Codename Red and Codename Hex will all be available on the Infinity platform, but I will still be buying those games physically anyway, so I don't really see a point in it. But they could be doing something really interesting with it. It's hard to tell right now. But yeah, they did speak about it briefly, but still not in enough depth to really do a full breakdown on what it is. So overall, the Assassin's Creed showcase was really good. It was really interesting, and I actually think, you know, I wasn't expecting Ubisoft to actually come out and announce like 3 mainline Assassin's Creed titles. I mean, I know they announced Mirage like a couple days before because it got leaked, but had that not gotten leaked, I'm sure they would have announced Mirage with this. So I'm going to count it as 3 major Assassin's Creed announcements. I didn't expect that. Like, I expected, you know, a look at Mirage and perhaps a tease for the next game. I wasn't expecting a full-blown reveal and then essentially a reveal of what the next game was, and then a tease for the next game after that. That was very shocking. And I think Ubisoft really did show their hand, to be fair, you know, in regards to the future of the series. They also did tease a couple other things, like obviously they did give us a little bit of a tease on Infinity. They did give us a look at a Assassin's Creed mobile game, codenamed Jade, which I didn't really speak about. It looks very good for a mobile game. I mean, I probably won't play it just because I don't personally play mobile games, but it looks pretty good for a mobile game, and it's set in a really good setting again of like ancient China, so that's pretty cool. And you also get to create your own protagonist in that, which is pretty interesting. And they also did speak about the final expansion for Valhalla, which I've not even finished Valhalla, so I probably won't even play that, to be honest. But overall, I think it was a really good showcase, a really good kind of time for Ubisoft to actually come out and show us what they're planning for this series going forward. And as a fan of the series long term, even though I've not loved the games in the last couple of years, it did get me excited, and it makes me want to go back and play some of the games. And I think that's really what they were aiming for. And, you know, out of the three, I'm definitely most excited about Mirage, and that might just be because it's the closest. I don't know. I feel the most kind of excited about that. I guess it's the most tangible, it's the most attainable, but also because of what it is. Like, it is a return to roots Assassin's Creed series game, and I think it's going to be a lot more to my taste than, you know, some of the more recent games. But at the same time, you know, the idea of a feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game is something we've always wanted to see, and the Codename Hex game could be really great if they nail it. So overall, I'm excited. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How would you rank these games in terms of your anticipation? Which one are you most looking forward to? And what were your thoughts on the showcase as a whole? Make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more gaming content like this, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.